In the heat of World War II, when the Germans thought no one could stand in their way, whispers of a mysterious and fearsome new Soviet weapon spread like wildfire across the Eastern Front battlefields and beyond. While no one knew precisely what this new weapon was, Nazi soldiers would soon find out in the most unforgiving way possible. German soldiers on the front lines heard powerful humming sounds slicing through the air. A chilling noise caused even the most steadfast soldiers to tremble with fear. There could be no mistaking it now. This was the fabled Stalin's organ, a fearsome multiple rocket launcher capable of unleashing up to 48 rockets in a mere 10-second firestorm. Though its existence was never officially acknowledged until after the war's end, by 1942 this technological terror had already become an icon of the Soviet Union's military might at a crucial juncture when the Red Nation desperately needed to prove its strength. So beloved was this weapon by its crews that it was frequently personified, even bestowed with a name of its own, Katyusha. But why did the Soviets keep this weapon a secret, and how did it alter the course of the war? The origins of Stalin's organ trace back to June 1938, when Moscow's Reaction Engine Scientific Research Institute received the approval of the main artillery directorate to develop a concept that had lingered inconclusively for years: a mass-produced, devastating multiple rocket launcher. With the RS-132 aircraft rocket as their blueprint, a team of Russian engineers constructed prototype launchers, initially firing them in a transverse configuration before realizing greater stability could be achieved by mounting the launch rails longitudinally instead. The resulting breakthrough in August 1939 was the BM-13 Katyusha, which was elegant in its straightforward design of parallel rails mounted on racks to hold the rockets. When the Soviet Army introduced its first Katyusha field battery, it consisted of 9 launch systems, divided into 3 firing platoons, accompanied by a fire direction platoon with a 122mm howitzer for targeting, an ammunition platoon, a transportation platoon, petroleum oil lubricants platoon, and a medical detachment. Leading this initial training effort was Captain Ivan Aflerov, along with 2 civilian advisors, A.I. Popov, the engineer behind the launch platform itself, and D.A. Shitov, one of the developers of the decisive M13 rocket round. The crews underwent strict guidelines. If their launch vehicle was disabled in combat and could not be recovered, they were to destroy the BM-13 system at all costs to prevent German forces from studying its technology. Battery commanders were personally responsible for ensuring this occurred, even at the risk of their own lives. Soon, these newly minted Katyusha operatives would face their first proper trial by fire in the greatest challenge the Soviet military had seen in 20 years. When Nazi Germany launched its surprise invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941's Operation Barbarossa, the devastating new rocket launcher made its battlefield debut. At a railroad station in Orsha, the top-secret Katyushas unleashed their firepower for the first time, raining destruction on several German troop trains and inflicting heavy casualties. From those early days, the use of the system rapidly increased across the front lines, though its specifications remained a closely guarded state secret, entrusted only to specially cleared NKVD units. While the Katyusha's sheer firepower made it highly prized, its initial operators faced significant challenges. The massive system lacked precision accuracy compared to conventional howitzers, and it could take up to an hour to fully reload the emptied launch rails after firing. Despite its limitations, the ability of massed Katyusha batteries to saturate large areas with explosive rockets before rapidly withdrawing proved a game-changing advantage. If you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome military content. On July 14, 1941, near Smolensk, just 7 of the launchers approached a German infantry formation, and their mere presence was enough to send the enemy fleeing in terror from the city. The Soviet High Command quickly realized they had a powerful new asset capable of turning the tide against the German invasion. Stalin himself greenlit the Katyusha's mass production, with other models rapidly following. Beyond its affordable cost, a key strength was that the rocket launchers could be manufactured in relatively small industrial facilities, leaving larger heavy equipment plants free to concentrate on traditional artillery. In the early months of the war, the overconfident German forces left a trail of shattered Soviet machinery in their wake, convinced of swift conquest before the oncoming winter. But the Red Army refused to yield, meeting the onslaught with overwhelming force. Human waves of soldiers, conventional might, and now the terrifying presence of the Katyushas, German troops who had marched in expecting easy victory soon found themselves retreating in dread from this ingenious weapon their enemies were not supposed to possess. Within months, mobile batteries of 4 Katyusha launchers began appearing across battlefronts, their distinctive haunting screech announcing their arrival, a psychological weapon in its own right that led German forces to dub it Stalin's organ. In the Soviet trenches, the rocket launcher had become an adored icon, its very name, Katyusha, or the diminutive Katy, adopted from a famous folk song about a woman pining for her love lost to war. The overwhelming success of the original Katyusha design prompted an entire family of spin-off variants. Similar launches were adapted to mount on trucks, jeeps, trailers, tractors, armored vehicles, small naval craft, and even T-34 tanks, sometimes firing larger 300mm rockets. As the Soviet-American alliance took hold, the two allies even cooperated on a Katyusha variant using rugged US-made Studebaker 2.5-ton trucks, which Red Army crews favored for their off-road capability over smaller Soviet models. By the final push into Berlin in the spring of 1945, the iconic rocket launchers that had first rolled out 3 years earlier were still battering German defenses. Over 520 Katyusha batteries remained in service when the war ended, but this was merely the opening chapter for the system. Though initially a stopgap measure, the Katyusha's elegant and potent design ensured it remained a critical Soviet asset as the Cold War dawned. One upgraded variant from the 1950s to 60s was the BM-21 Grad, capable of firing up to 40 rockets in under 20 seconds. Improved technology allowed deploying new warhead types like high-explosive fragmentation, anti-tank, smoke, cluster munitions, and even landmines, ushering in a new era of tactical counter-battery and anti-armor doctrine. For decades, Soviet allies like Poland, Yugoslavia, Iran, Egypt, China, and North Korea received licenses to produce their own Katyusha variants as the rocket launcher took on a broader role in supporting communist movements worldwide. Chinese Katyushas proved particularly effective during the Korean War, their masked barrages punishing UN forces. Even as the once mighty Soviet Union unraveled in 1991, the Katyusha's importance was officially enshrined when President Mikhail Gorbachev awarded honors to one of the rocket launcher's original developers, just months before the nation's dissolution. As a new century dawned, brimming with possibilities, the ingenious concept pioneered by the Katyusha continued inspiring new incarnations across the globe. One such modern derivative was the United States M142 High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, HIMARS, introduced at the turn of the millennium. Combining the mass rocket firepower concept with advanced mobile launchers, HIMARS marked Katyusha's evolution for 21st century warfare. However, the original system itself also refused to fade away. Russian forces continued employing their inherited Katyusha launchers in subsequent conflicts like the two Chechen wars. The Iraqi military even deployed Katyushas against American troops during the 2003 invasion. So indelibly was the name Katyusha linked to the multiple rocket launcher concept that media reports frequently refer to any such system as a Katyusha, regardless of the actual model. In a historical twist of fate, the quintessential Soviet weapon's spiritual descendants found themselves aimed back at the nation that gave them life. When Russia launched its 2022 invasion of Ukraine, the US government authorized a $150 million military aid package, with HIMARS rocket launchers as a significant component to help the outmatched Ukrainian forces to counter the Russian onslaught. Thus, the Katyusha concept had come full circle, its DNA persisting for over 80 years to potentially defend Ukraine from its former homeland's aggression. No matter what fortunes may hold, the Katyusha's defining role in World War II and Cold War history has ensured its legacy as one of the 20th century's iconic weapon systems. From its humble improvised origins to inspiring new generations of devastating rocket artillery, the howling Stalin's organ will forever echo through the annals of modern warfare. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and turn on the notification bell to be notified whenever we post amazing videos like this.